on Sundays there used to come a show called Dabar Anmol Filmotsav,
Mm-hmm.
and 12 to 3 आता था, and they used to show movies on different themes या फिर different actors की. So they started with Raj Kapoor's movies, and I still remember the first movie was Aag. It was a black and white movie, and मैंने वो सिर्फ इसलिए देखी because I wanted to bunk my studies. There is no other reason that I would sit for a black and white movie at that point in my life. And
Yeah.
I still remember ki, the name of Raj Kapoor's character was Keval, and the actress was Nargis, and all the story and everything. Just to pass the time, I sat through it, and I was a kid who used to watch Govinda and Shah Rukh Khan movies at that point of time,
Oh yeah.
with like dance numbers and comedy and punchlines and all that stuff. So it was very difficult, but I powered through, and I'm glad कि I powered through, क्योंकि धीरे धीरे week by week नई नई मूवीज आती गई, from आवारा, then Ganga Jamuna Saraswati, Shri 420, and then they even transitioned to colored films, for which my dad was very angry कि they didn't show तीसरी कसम. So I looked it up कि तीसरी कसम क्यों नहीं दिखाया, and then I realized कि they are only showing movies which were produced by RK Films and not just in which Raj Kapoor was there as an actor. तो उसमें पहली
Oh.
बार आई रियलाइज, हाँ, तो उसमें पहली बार आई रियलाइज कि अच्छा, ओ पिक्चर ऐसे नहीं बन जाती एक्टर के अलावा देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अदर एस्पेक्ट्स, एंड लाइक देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अदर पीपल वर्किंग बिहाइंड इट.
Right.
And since then I've never looked back in my viewing experience as such. तो हाँ, मैं डीडी वाला बच्चा है.
I became an ardent follower of Govinda because of my dad. We went to the
Oh,
movie
okay.
hall and we watched all his movies from Ek Aur Ek Gyara to when he started to making a comeback in the early 2000s with Bhagam Bhag and Do Not Disturb, not with the K. And maybe
Dolly,
after
dolly,
that
dolly.
maybe after that movie even my dad realized that his golden era was a good run, but now it was time to move on. So the movies that were telecasted on TV, I had to sneakily watch them without my parents knowing late in the night. Not blue films, but yeah.
Latest movies.
Latest movies. But as a kid, the storyline of the movies didn't matter to me to that extent. What mattered were the clothes, the glamour, the endless efforts to try and copy the hook steps, and the style, bro. Style movie, style का वो handshake स्कूल में जाके दोस्तों के साथ करना, and the song, excuse me.
and the many different versions of it we had in our classrooms.
Yes. So till the time I guess I entered college, all the movies that I watched were pretty much family oriented. Even the Hollywood ones actually. We rented out CDs to watch them together. In my teens, Disney played a huge role, and I have no shame in admitting that I've watched all Hannah Montana movies, Camp Rock, and High School Musical movies.
कैंप रॉक मैंने भी देखी है. उसका वो
Guilty
गाना था दिस
pleasure.
इज रियल.
Yeah. But मतलब ये तो सारी हमारी बचपन की यादें हैं. But there is like one movie that touches you so much that it brings out emotions that you didn't even know were inside of you, or it just triggers the memory from the past. Has it happened with you? Is there any one movie that you can think of?
I mean, not just one movie. There are a lot of movies. वैसे तो my entire adolescence is filled with such movies. But I can distinctly remember when it happened for the first time. Again, it was a movie that came on DD. The movie is titled Halo. It incited an emotion with me I never thought I had. Like by the end of the movie, I was clasping my hands and I was grinding my teeth because I did not like the ending, because I enjoyed the whole movie, and the ending, it was not at all what I expected. And so for the first time, I I thought about the movie days after I finished watching it. And so then I realized ki, okay, like something has altered, something has shifted in me, and that's the power of the medium. So या लाइक ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ इमोशनल इमोशनल तो मैं बहुत मूवीज में हुआ उसके बाद, बट it was a very different and weird emotion, and I like that, and I appreciate that now.
There's this one movie that is the Dead Poet Society that is also very dear to me. After watching it, I cried for an hour straight, which is completely unexpected out of me.
हाँ.
uh, but it took me back to a very special memory. In class 8, our class teacher, our English teacher, was loved by everyone in the class. She was strict, but she was so passionate about English that somehow everyone resonated with her passion. And so when she announced that she was leaving the school, the entire class cried together. I'm not even kidding. Like our howls and our snorts from our noses while crying were also synchronized. And I had never witnessed that kind of love for a teacher. I remember writing a poem for her that ended up getting published in the school magazine. Oh God, now that I think about it. So anyway, after watching the movie, I remember that I'd once emailed her, and this is 5 to 6 years after that time. So I found her email ID. I sent her a really long email describing the movie and correlating it with her leaving school, with no possible expectation for a reply back. But in a week or so, I got an email back from her telling me she is a Shakespeare professor in Mumbai University, and how she happened to read my email just before a lecture, and how she couldn't continue the class because she was so overwhelmed with love. And she had also attached a picture of herself and her baby holding a framed printout of my email. And
बस करो, रुक जाओ.
I swear, too much cheese overload. But I guess I always wanted to reach out to her, but
Hmm.
watching Dead Poet Society just triggered that emotion that was hidden inside for so long. While talking about movies, I think we both agree that after entering college, our perspective changed a lot. And since we were both part of the Dramatic Society and also a small production house started by our seniors, we also got to explore the filmmaking process and the back end process in general.
So it's only natural that we can't talk about movies alone, and we need to call two people who have actually inspired us, motivated us to enhance our own filmmaking by their recommendations, as we just said. Um, I won't take long, and I'll just introduce them now. So it's Dhananjay and Suyash sir. We call Suyash sir because he was just one year senior to me, and it was a concept in our college that you have to say sir and ma'am to all your seniors, and you have to make juniors also do the same, which was actually quite silly now that I think of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
hello.
I
Hello,
think it's only
everyone.
fair we break this trend from this
Hi.
podcast and let's stop calling each other sir. Yeah,
Okay,
this is like a great platform.
we'll try.
Try
Try
it.
We'll
करते
try.
हैं try करते हैं
So sir,
Suyash.
podcast voice is good, huh?
I think I'll switch my career now.
तो फिल्म मेकिंग परस्यू करते करते आपका परसेप्शन कैसे चेंज हुआ मूवीज को लेकर, और एज अ व्यूअर भी क्या चीज चेंज हुई आपके अंदर? दिस इज फॉर सूरज सर.
So बचपन से I wasn't into books that much. Initially कुछ syllabus की curriculum की books and a few novels. Apart from that, I was not into books reading a lot, but I would watch a lot of movies thanks to my family, crazy fans of movies, and especially my dad. He is a very colorful person. He would watch all kinds of films, and when I say all kinds of, he would literally watch all kinds of films. And from works of Satyajit Ray and Ritvik Ghatak, that was there. Bimal Roy, he grew up watching that. Then he was a great fan of Devanand Saab's filmography. Then he would, and then every household had that 90s flavor Govinda Wala, and my father's favorite Jackie Chan films. And
oh
I
Oh my
wasn't
god.
allowed in that room because action and all, but I would you know work my way into that room somehow. Chai le jana, kuch le jana, and watch those because it excited me. वो टबू बन जाता है ना कि क्यों नहीं देखने दे रहे, and so that
Hmm.
kind of a genre excited me at that time.
Mhm.
But I watched a lot of cinema, but it was you know back in college when I started my college. I started watching a lot of films all over again in my laptop this time, and I would sit with myself this time, not with my family. This was not entertainment watching it on a sofa, एक family time spent करते हुए. This was different. This was when I was actually understanding what I was watching. I was trying to understand कि क्या हो रहा है, and I realized that this is a different literature altogether. This is different storytelling style, and you know, it. I started noticing where the camera is placed and what difference does it make. Something, and I didn't realize at that time I was noticing something technical or something else. I was just understanding what it, uh, how it impacts my perspective of things.
Correct.
And so then I started exploring filmmaking a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was that, and then we found out Teen Patthar, a YouTube channel. We would make short films, and that's how I met Dhananjay. A lot of short films we created, and that really redefined, because initially we were into a lot of comedy sketch making, and which was the trend initially. YouTube in India, everywhere actually.
The
But
commercial side of it.
yeah. So that's how you make money as a college kid, and that's how, and that's the kind of fun thing you want to do as a college kid. This is when we realize that, this is something that gives us a voice to put it out, some kind of a sub kind of an out. So yeah, that was my thing.
The filmmaking has always been very emotional. I'm sure for all of us, but I remember very distinctly that. So when I used to go watch movies in theaters, uh, क्या होता था जैसी मूवी खत्म होएगी I would get up and I would think that I am that character that I've been seeing for the last 2 hours, 2.5 hours. तो मैं वैसे ही चलने लग जाता था एंड वो इतनी अच्छे से इंस्टिल हो जाता था वो कैरेक्टर मेरे अंदर कि मैं फिर सोते वक्त रात तक मैं वही कैरेक्टर को सोचता रहता था या फिर मैं वही हूँ मैं वैसे ही चल रहा हूँ मैं वैसे ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं सब कुछ वैसे ही कर रहा हूँ तो आई वुड मिमिक अ लॉट एंड वेरी सबकॉन्शियसली आई वुड डू दैट तो ऐसे बहुत इमोशनली इम्पैक्ट किया नॉट ओनली मी बट माई फैमिली एज अ होल मैं शायद 2-3 महीने का था मैं तब से मूवीज जा रहा हूँ क्योंकि मेरे पेरेंट्स ने कभी मेरे को घर में नहीं छोड़ा क्योंकि वो मूवी देखने जा रहे हैं और फॉर्चुनेटली मैं वो बच्चा नहीं था जो हॉल में रो देता था तो इट वाज फाइन फॉर देम बट हाँ तो इट वाज ओनली वेरी इमोशनल टिल द टाइम आई वाज इन कॉलेज when I met these people, when I got into Teen Patthar, and I got the literature, the grammar of filmmaking, how it's done, different हो गया perspective. हम थोड़ा emotional aspect की बजाय थोड़ा दिमाग से सोचने लग गए कि ये क्यों किया उसने उसने ये शॉट वहां से क्यों लिया वैसे वैसे कर लेता तो क्या होता तो वैसे थोड़ा थिंकिंग डेवलप हुआ जिससे काफी चेंजेस आए
I've seen a lot of people complain कि हॉलीवुड में सेम मूवी बना दो तो उसको ज़्यादा अप्रिसिएशन मिलती है rather than बॉलीवुड या फिर साउथ इंडियन मूवीज़ को उनका ड्यू नहीं मिलता और वही कॉपी करके बॉलीवुड में आ जाती है तो इसे इन पर्टिकुलर चीज़ों का मतलब मूवीज़ का एग्जाम्पल देते हुए आप एक कंपैरिजन ड्रॉ कर सकते हो इन सब में
comparison एक है which I could think of is so the Hindi film industry which is Bollywood we copy a lot from Hollywood. Hollywood has this tendency of making business out of movies जो और कहीं नहीं है यूके में होगा थोड़ा सा बट वर्ल्ड सिनेमा अगर आप देखो अर्जेंटीना देख लो या फ्रांस देख लो या स्वीडन देख लो या कहीं भी देख लो वो बिजनेस नहीं है मूवीज का तो वी हैव अ टेंडेंसी टू मेक अ बिजनेस आउट ऑफ मूवीज वेर एज इफ वी गो साउथ मलयालम सिनेमा हो गया कन्नड़ सिनेमा हो गया तेलुगु हो गया वहां पे उसको कमर्शलाइज इतना किया था अब वो वापस उसको थोड़ा डैम्पन कर रहे हैं देव पुट कैप्स ऑन मार्केटिंग बजट्स देव पुट सच मेजर डिसीजंस ऑन बिजनेसेस ताकि वो कोई एक बड़ा जायंट ना बन जाए और बिजनेस मेकिंग मशीन वो एक मूवीज तक ही रहे वो एक आर्ट फॉर्म तक ही रहे जो शायद होना चाहिए तो probably वहाँ पे we differ a lot from the South industry and the Hindi film industry.
थोड़ा सा इंडस्ट्री का डेफिनेशन भी डाइल्यूट होता जा रहा है सो नाउ इट्स नॉट हॉलीवुड और बॉलीवुड और ऐसा लाइक क्लियर डिमार्केशन पीपल ऑडियंसेस आर वाचिंग एवरीथिंग एंड एनीथिंग एंड उसके बियॉन्ड जाके लैंग्वेज इज नो बैरियर थैंक्स टू इतने अच्छे अमेजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी एंड सो दैट काइंड ऑफ अ फ्रीडम इज देयर फॉर द ऑडियंसेस टू एक्सप्लोर अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेंट मे बी सिमिलर कंटेंट अक्रॉस डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज बट वो इंडस्ट्रीज का पूरा डेफिनेशन ना थोड़ा सा ऐसे फ्लूइडिक हो रहा है वो वॉल्स थोड़ी ब्रेक हो रही है
बट एक एग्जांपल आई वुड लाइक टू गिव फॉर मलयाली सिनेमा तो a few years back Kerala में people stopped going to watch movies
Yeah.
क्योंकि उनको लग रहा था कंटेंट सही नहीं है, थिएटर ही जाना बंद कर दिया उन लोगों ने। दे वर इन अ
Yeah.
टिफ कि अब करे क्या, उनको कंटेंट ही बदलना पड़ेगा, उनको देखना पड़ेगा कि दुनिया का कंटेंट इनके पास आ रहा है, इनके फोन्स में, इनके
Right.
लैपटॉप्स में, तो इन्हीं को चेंज होना पड़ेगा। एंड दैट वाज द डिसीजन, जिससे अब कुंभलंगी नाइट्स आती है या कोई ऐसी फिल्म्स आती हैं जिसमें हम पागल हो जाते हैं। तो सुपर डीलक्स तमिल, बट तो वही
सॉरी
बट वो चेंज आ गया, एग्जैक्टली वो चेंज आ गया। एंड वो इसलिए आया क्योंकि ऑडियंस ने बोला कि देखो हमें पता है
Right.
अब क्या चल रहा है, तुम अपना चेंज करो, नहीं तो हम नहीं जाएंगे।
Right. We can definitely not talk about the impact of cinema on the society. How in general हम जो भी societal norms वगैरह को इस बारे में question कर रहे हैं, अभी की movies में question कर रहे हैं, but हम पीछे जाके पुरानी movies में भी question कर रहे हैं कि देखो पहले भी सही नहीं दिखाया गया था, क्योंकि पहले वो societal norms question ही नहीं हुए थे. Do you think there is a need for all this? मतलब हाँ, obviously some of the objectification of women and all these things through item songs or jo bhi, these should be questioned, but should you go back in the timeline to another era possibly and question the filmmaker or the movie's intent in general?
I think obviously if you revisit a project Purana, the intention is not to bring in a change, or it's maybe a study, or it's maybe revisiting that project just for the heck of it, just to understand उस टाइम का सोसाइटी, उस टाइम का कल्चर, उस टाइम के वैल्यूज, एंड मतलब वो वाला मोटिवेशन होता है कि where you need to understand where you come from so that you can acknowledge that and कितना फार आ गए हो आप और कहाँ जाना है. So that kind of a study के लिए it becomes really important to revisit these projects. And now also if you look at Kabir Singh, now वो वाली चीज इतना fake sense of masculinity या वो प्रोवाइडर वाली इमेज जो है, उस चीज पे वो जब कैप्चर करा उसने, जब बंदा देख रहा था थिएटर में, तो मतलब a lot of people, and it's all about audiences किस तरह से built हैं, मतलब उन लोग के फाउंडेशन, उन लोग की बाउंड्रीज, एंड सो वो किस तरह से उनको शेप कर रहा है. a lot of people were looking at it as if कि अरे ठीक है एक टॉक्सिक कैरेक्टर है, but a lot of people were shaped by that kind of a thing, एंड उसके एटीट्यूड्स, उसकी वो उसका पूरा बिलीफ रीइंस्टिल हुआ, जो सोसाइटी ने शायद फीड करा होगा, उसकी माँ ने उसको बताया होगा कि भाई you have authority over women, you have to protect them, you know what's best for them. That kind of a कहानी, if you वो सारी बिलीव जब रीइंस्टिल होते हैं, तो बाहर जाके आदमी फिर करता है जो करता है, वो कबीर सिंह के बाद करता है. एंड मतलब ये सिर्फ ऐसे इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वैलिड नहीं है, ये हर जगह है. मतलब ये दिस वाज एंड दैट्स द काइंड ऑफ, एंड मतलब वो सारे स्टडीज होते हैं एक्चुअली, इफ यू रीड अ लॉट ऑफ स्टडीज. तो क्लॉकवर्क ऑरेंज जब आई थी उस ईयर 1971 में इतना क्राइम रेट बढ़ गया था. सो दैट्स द काइंड ऑफ स्टडी, एंड दैट्स द इन्फ्लुएंस दैट the movie has on the audiences in general. तो वो सोसाइटी में इम्पैक्ट दिखता है.
But in the end, doesn't treatment of the issue or the topic change things? For example, even in Dangal, ये issue आया था कि the father didn't let them
Yeah.
have their own choice. It was something that was talked about a lot at that point of time.
Yeah, so मतलब if you talk about content creator की responsibility, somehow मतलब वो बहुत ही fine line है. You have to show that kind of a world, and उस world की realities, and उस world की जितनी भी सच्चाइयाँ हैं, आपको उस honesty में नहीं दिखाओगे तो justice नहीं होगी उस कहानी के लिए. प्रॉब्लम इसलिए है, आई फाइंड इट अ प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज you're trying to hinder the thought process of the creator. आप एक चाह रहे हो कि you kind of put a filter to it, you kind of put a social tab to it. But if you try to understand the films that inspire, that take your ऐसे heart away, City of God, Raging Bull, now उस दुनिया की reality ही violence है, तो you can't avoid it. अगर as a creator, if you're narrating that story, अगर if you skip that bit and you say कि violence का कुछ और version में दिखाऊंगा, तो would not give you that kind of a connect, that kind of an impact with the character sketch उसकी journey के साथ. And so अब कबीर सिंह की कुछ सच्चाई थी, and डायरेक्टर की कुछ choices थी, and उस पे बहुत फिल्टर और बहुत वो लगाना भी एक you kind of impurity को वो करना होगा invite की you kind of character में bifurcation हो जाता है ना, कि यहाँ पर this guy is an asshole and suddenly this guy is this socially acceptable. तो वो it creates like a वैसा delusional personality. But there's a difference between showing things and glorifying things, and that really creates that kind of a वो कि अगर कबीर सिंह अपनी बंदी को मार रहा है और पीछे आपको वाड़ा वाव बज रहा है, तो that kind of that is the kind of एक थप्पड़ मार के लोग बोलते हैं कि बैलेंस हो जाता है. फिल्म मेकर की इनकेपेबिलिटी है कि he was not able to pull that thing off. तो वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, बट आई थिंक रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग somebody's content and saying कि oh this is okay, this is not okay, वो थोड़ा problematic हो जाता है.
Also, I think it depends a lot on the atmosphere and the ethos of the audience जो जहाँ चल रही है. तो for example, Joker did very well in India, did very well in Venice or film festivals and everywhere. But US में लोग boycott कर रहे हैं because depression, mental health and guns and gun violence is a problem there. तो जो प्रॉब्लम अपनी है यहाँ पे, जैसे कबीर सिंह अगर है तो टॉक्सिक मैस्कुलिनिटी एंड वो ऑब्जेक्टिफाइंग वुमेन और ये सब हमारी दिक्कतें हैं, बहुत ज्यादा कोर है, तो हम टची होंगे उसके बारे में. अब जोकर के बारे में हम नहीं होंगे क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ गन वायलेंस कुछ है ही नहीं सीन इतना, इसलिए ये भी बहुत डिपेंड करता है कि कौन सी ऑडियंस उसको ले रही है.
आई मीन मतलब ऑब्वियसली सोसाइटी इन्फ्लुएंस करती है कि किस तरह की कहानी बन रही है दुनिया में, और मतलब उसकी वजह से अ लॉट ऑफ कमर्शियल सिनेमा इज सक्सेसफुल. बट जो दिल से लिखी हुई कहानी है, जो कहानियां जो हिला देती हैं, जो लुटेरा है अब ऐसे कि ओ इसने ये इस तरह से क्यों नहीं करा, रियली यू नो फक्स अप विद द कैरेक्टर स्केच ऑफ एवरीथिंग. पूरी सराउंडिंग उस कहानी को जो बिल्ड करने में लग रही है, उस पूरे कंटेंट की सच्चाई को हिला देता है.
एक बहुत फनी पैराडॉक्स है इस पे. तो जो लोग इंटॉलरेंस के खिलाफ होते हैं वो भी तो इंटॉलरेंट ही हैं. तो ये एक बहुत फनी चीज है जो जिसका आंसर बहुत इजीली नहीं निकल सकता. बहुत एजुकेशन, बहुत इयर्स ऑफ मेच्योरिटी वो धीरे धीरे शायद डेवलप होगी हमारी कंट्री में कि हम उसको एक्नॉलेज कर पाए. यूरोपियन कंट्रीज ही क्यों समझ पाई जोकर को, और यूएस तक जैसी कोई कंट्री नहीं समझ पाई. तो वो दिखाता है कि दैट द मेंटालिटी इन द ऑडियंस हैज टू बी नर्चर्ड इन अ वे, और वो विद टाइम ही आता है, वो ऐसे नहीं आएगा.
जैसे ही कोई मूवी भी आती है तो सडनली देयर इज दिस स्वर्म ऑफ ओपिनियंस फॉर एवरीवन. लाइक एवरीवन टुडे वांट्स टू बी अ क्रिटिक. Everyone today wants to sort of give their opinion on something. It's like before appreciating movies, people have started criticizing it because everybody has that opinion. So, like, what do you think about that?
I think there are two things coming into play here. One is advent of social media, where people have that kind of a platform to discuss ideas and critique about it, to present their opinion. एंड दूसरी चीज ये हुई है कि मतलब मूवी की एक्सेसिबिलिटी बढ़ी है. सो नाउ मूवी इज द थिंग. पीपल यूज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट अ लॉट ऑफ आइडियाज एंड क्रिटिक अबाउट देम, मे बी स्मॉलर नंबर, मे बी छोटी गैदरिंग्स में, बट मूवीज हैज प्रेजेंटेड इटसेल्फ एज द टॉपिक ऑफ दिस मे बी डेकेड और एरा, जो भी बोलो. एक्चुअली पहले ग्रुप्स यूज्ड टू मीट अप एंड वुड टॉक अबाउट नॉवेल्स एंड literature and what not, उसके बारे में critique करते थे. So people are always discussing these things, and somehow I feel that movie is the thing because of the accessibility, OTT platforms coming on, and content इतना है, plus ऊपर से a lot of people realize that उनकी appetite बढ़ गई है of content watching. They're consumers and amazing consumers. People would watch Dark का season 3 एक दिन में पूरा, and that makes them मतलब not think of anything. That's amazing if you understand this thing कि dark से ज़्यादा complicated कोई चीज़ नहीं है, but मतलब a person can watch that whole thing and maybe just put out कि oh मेरे को थोड़ा complicated लगा. That kind of a एक liner, एक word फेंकना shows कि ये बंदा कितना consume कर सकता है अभी, and that kind of a thing has maybe is different compared to the kind of era you are talking about, where you would sit and appreciate something, you would have that kind of a space and time and freedom, and वो टाइप का प्रेशर नहीं था कि ओ ये देखा वो देखा, ये नहीं देखा वो नहीं देखा.
Why are we suddenly feeling this pressure? A movie, at the end of the day, any movie or even a series, if you're talking about series, it's supposed to be for entertainment. And abhi I'm not talking from our perspective ki we have been involved in making some content as well, but as an audience it's supposed to provide entertainment. So why is it suddenly ki wo pressure and the fear of missing out in every other sphere of our life has actually hit us in our viewing experiences also? I understand कि spoilers मिल जाएंगे, but still, what is it कि we want to be up to date कि बस consume करे जा रहे हैं, like Binging your favorite fast food.
तो हम जब स्टारबक्स आया था इंडिया में तो हमने क्यों टैग किया था फेसबुक पे? As a population we're not mature enough to handle a lot of things at once. तो अगर हमें वो abundance में मिल जाएगा तो हम पागल हो जाएंगे, और हम हो रहे हैं पागल, including us.
हाँ.
Not only कि हम एक ऊपर से हम नीचे देख रहे हैं लोगों को,
हम्म.
including us, हमें भी नहीं पता कि हम उस कंटेंट को कैसे जज करें, कैसे देखें, क्या करें. तो वो शायद धीरे धीरे ही आएगा, बट हमें इंडिया एज अ पॉपुलेशन हमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें बहुत जल्दी मिल गई हैं विदाउट डूइंग एनीथिंग, and we don't have that maturity to handle that kind of abundance.
And why don't we have that kind of maturity?
Because we're not just a country, we're a continent. हमारे पास different विभिन्न प्रकार के लोग हैं. अब हर 10 किलोमीटर में आपको नए लोग, नए भाषा, नए कपड़े, नया सब कुछ दिखेगा. तो how can you expect everyone to be on the same level? तो बहुत हमारे लेवल्स ही इतने अलग हैं और हमारे हर लेवल पे लोग ही इतने अलग हैं. तो वो कभी मैच कर ही नहीं सकते.
But don't you think कि what a person likes या फिर what a person really is happy about is actually a very individual thing. So वो हमेशा ऐसे ट्रेंड के हिसाब से सेट करना क्यों जरूरी है? Like my own liking for a movie, it's very personal and it will be my own. Until and unless वो कोई ऐसी मूवी है कि हाँ it's a popular opinion that's going on, like say like थप्पड़ or something like that, which is very relevant to society और उस टाइम पे देखना बहुत जरूरी है. But if it's something that's very personal to me as an audience, why do I have to compare it कि नहीं ये एक लेवल है जिस तक मुझे मेरे को देखना है, फिर इस नेक्स्ट लेवल तक मैं जाऊंगा तो मेरा इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल बढ़ जाएगा, जो कि बढ़ता है, आई गेट. बट व्हाट्स यूनिक टू यू या फिर तुम्हारा वो कर्व क्या है, हम वो क्यों नहीं आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे? Why are we इसमें भी तो फिर even though it's art, it's very personal to you, but then again why are you comparing it with different kind of standards? So isn't it better कि आप अपना पाथ खुद देखो in a way?
Yeah, but matlab, I think that's like a personal journey we are talking about. A person has to, evolve as an audience अपने level पे. You can't expect crowd to behave in a certain way. Crowd हमेशा, we are social animals, तो हम लोग वो insecurity में ही जीते हमेशा. तो मतलब an individual might, if you वो crowd से isolate करके एक बंदे को बिठा के पूछोगे तो he might say a different thing. वो वाली बात होती है ना. I think that is more prevalent because एक common reference point जब आपको मिलता है, for example college में, I think we have had this discussion where एक आदमी भी ये बोलता था ना कि टैक्सी ड्राइवर मेरे को इतनी पसंद नहीं आई या मैं सो गया, तो उसका गला काटने के लिए लोग दौड़ते थे.
True.
I'm saying और वो प्रेशर इतना है कि एक आदमी को डरा के रख दो तो बाकी लोग ऑलरेडी डर गए और वो सिस्टम को फॉलो करने लगे. Somehow हमारा अजीब सा इनविजिबल सिस्टम बन रहा है अनसेट सा, एंड वेयर वी आर
अलाउड नहीं है. हाँ, इस पिक्चर को हेट करना अलाउड नहीं.
Exactly.
Even loving something which is hated. I watched Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, and I'm saying this now officially on record कि I loved that movie when I watched it in the theater.
ये reaction होगा आगे.
I loved that movie because DC Comics Justice League, I had never seen live action में Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman coming together. I was shouting on top of my lungs in the theater, and a lot of other people too were, by the way, जिन्होंने बाद में जाके popular opinion देखा.
But were they shouting at you?
I don't know. Shut up. But I don't know. They were all shouting at the screen. So अब मैं यही सोचूंगा कि they were happy about what they were showing. And then बाहर आके I'm pretty sure they were the ones who tweeted इतनी कुछ खास नहीं थी, because a lot of other people, it was already an opinion कि it's a very bad movie या फिर सही नहीं है. So ये तो है कि वो एक प्रेशर आ रहा है और कि उसको अधर करना ही है, but it's a little messed up because आजकल दिक्कत ये हो रही है कि it is directly influencing the business of movies.
Right.
An opinion is no more isolated anymore. Any opinion is directly influencing filmmaking business. So as an audience, अब तो हमारा फिर responsibility भी थोड़ा बढ़ रहा है ना, because वो फिर वो वाला सीन हो रहा है कि we are actually, वो एक feedback जा रहा है हर चीज में, data analyze होता है हर चीज का. एनालिस्ट और ट्रेडर्स बैठे हैं वहां पे जो कि बता रहे हैं उनको कि ये ओपिनियन अभी पॉपुलर है, इस पे मूवीज बनाओ. एंड वो आर्ट मीडियम अभी उतना भी आर्ट मीडियम रह नहीं गया है. सो क्या एज एन ऑडियंस हमारा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं बनता कि हम थोड़ा सा और अवेयर हो जाए कुछ चीजों के बारे में, या फिर अवेयरनेस के साथ उसको हैंडल करें.
Actually, the job of a critique has been limited in this country to maybe review a film and you know help the audiences decide if they want to go to the cinema to watch that particular film or not. But I think the critic's job has been, matlab, in the history, if you trace, it has been grand and it has been enormous in maybe saving a few industries or saving a few films. और उस टाइप का जब आपके पास पावर होता है टू इंट्रोड्यूस अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल टू डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ कंटेंट, डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ सिनेमा, जब आपके पास उतनी पावर होती है एंड आप टीवी पे आके सिर्फ मेन स्ट्रीम कहानी के बारे में बोल के कुछ चले जाते हो, और वो भी उसमें भी क्या, आप कंटेंट पे लिमिटेड आपकी कहानी है, यू आर नॉट टॉकिंग इंट्रोड्यूसिंग अबाउट कि किस तरह से फिल्म बनी, यू आर नॉट एजुकेटिंग योर ऑडियंसेस, then that's the kind of gap you can't fill as a creator or as an audience isolation mein. You need like that kind of a third party support to maybe introduce your audiences to that kind of a window कि ओ इस चीज से भी, इस लेंस से भी जज करा जा सकता है इस पिक्चर को.
And even the people who are listening to it, वो लोग उसका analysis part address ना करके critic part ज्यादा address करने लगे हैं कि क्योंकि वो सुपीरियोरिटी ऑफ माइंड दिखाने के लिए कि देखो मैंने उसमें गलती निकाल ली. So it's not about गलती. Also the way people are like, I don't know if it has happened to you when you talk to people about movies. It's just that the way people discuss about movies, या फिर they want to critique something in general, they completely let go of the intention part of it.
What is the one general ask that you have as a filmmaker from the people who are watching your content, in terms of how they should be scrutinizing it or how they should be appreciating it in general?
So I think as an audience, it becomes, after a point, it becomes a responsibility to maybe teach yourself how to watch films and how to look out for, how to study them, and with the kind of content we are exposed to now, which is there, and the appetite we have, it's so huge. It has become even more important to understand cinema more than content, understand maybe the history of it, maybe the context of it, and then be able to appreciate what the creator is trying to convey.
As an audience, we need to understand कि दुनिया बदलो पर पहले अपनी. You have to watch content, you have to read content, you have to read about any art form. कोई भी आर्ट फॉर्म पकड़ के उसके बारे में बस पढ़ो कि उसको देखते कैसे हैं, उसको पकड़ते कैसे हैं, कि उसने बनाया क्या है. तो इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट फिल्म्स बट एनी आर्ट फॉर्म, और कोई भी आर्ट फॉर्म आप करोगे इट विल हेल्प यू इन योर नॉर्मल थिंकिंग एज वेल. एंड वो आपको फिल्म्स में भी दिखेगा, वो आपको पेंटिंग्स में दिखेगा, प्लेज में दिखेगा, एनीथिंग. तो यू जस्ट द क्वेश्चनिंग पावर ऑफ योर माइंड इज सो ग्रेट. तो आप उसको यूज उस तरीके से करो कि आप उसके बारे में पढ़ो. ऑल्सो आई थिंक जितने भी हम सीरियस बातें कर ले फिल्म्स के बारे में, हम वापस वेलकम ही देखेंगे या हेरा फेरी देखेंगे. तो दैट वोंट चेंज आई थिंक, बिकॉज दैट इज वेरी कोर टू अस. वो बहुत नेचुरली आता है, बहुत अच्छे से, बहुत लाइट कर देता है माहौल को. एंड
मतलब उसका एक अलग एसेंस है और उसकी अलग ब्यूटी है एक्चुअली हमारी लाइफ में. एंड वो मतलब इट्स basically वो वाला genre is all about I have my issues, I have my problems, but there is this on-screen person and he is also dealing with it. Maybe funny, maybe tragic, but at the end of the day, you would get a sense of
funny,
relatable. ठीक है भाई, ये भी तो जी रहा है ना. You just go on, you just move forward. It gives you that kind of a hope कि ठीक है, आगे बढ़ो, लाइफ में देखी जाएगी टाइप्स.
और it's probably a form of escapism cinema. तो आप बस अपने रियलिटी से भाग रहे हो और आपको बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है वहाँ पे, तो वो भी सही है. बट उसमें फिर डूब ही जाओ, ये नहीं होना चाहिए.
Thank you guys. Thank you for being on the podcast. It was amazing to have you.
Thank you so much for coming. Although it was not a really big change, but we just recorded a conversation of ours.
Exactly.
Welcome. रुलाओगे क्या आप?
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Late Night Rants, and we're still waiting for your responses and all your opinions. Our email ID is latenightRants01@gmail.com, and we also have a Twitter page now @rantslate. So get tweeting about us, guys. Also, our Instagram page is @latenighrants, and अब आज धनंजय तो उसी से बुलवा देते हैं धनंजय.
And a shout out to me, the best editor. आज चल मेरी धन्नो.
चल खन्नो, आज तेरी पसंदी की इज्जत का सवाल है. चल.